Hello there. Well, I'm doing something different today. Hopefully, we'll get a few people in and whoever's here will enjoy it. Or if you're watching after the fact, that too. Now, let me say before we go ahead and start, I'm not going to go ahead and spoil it beforehand because maybe this is your first time watching the episode. So maybe it's not your second time like it is mine, or third or fourth, or however many times you have happened to see it already. I don't know. So I did go ahead and watch it myself just after midnight, along with my wife. So, and we both definitely enjoyed it. I said that's part of why you're not likely to go ahead and get a first time live stream from me out of things like, say, The Mandalorian. Just because I do watch it with my wife, Natalia, for the first time, right there together. Now, that's not true about watching through Clone Wars and Rebels, so you are getting my real first times and everything there, because she's not watching that with me. She's not as big a Star Wars fan as I am. But hey, what can you do? So, yep. So you don't quite get the first time on this one, but that's okay, because hopefully it's not your first time either. Or if it is, I won't spoil it. It's a really good episode, though, so definitely I'm hoping you'll enjoy it if you are watching it here for the first time, or you'll enjoy it if you're coming back for a second time or a third time or whatever else. So, didn't know how popular this would end up being, if people would be interested in doing something like this. It does look like there's a couple of you out there. And hey, also let me know, assuming you have an interest in me doing this again next week, say next Friday, let me know what time would be good to go ahead and do this. Would it be good to do it earlier, say the noon kind of time frame that I often do the other live streams at? Or is there a different time of day that would work really well? Or heck, maybe you'd like me to do it at 1 in the morning, or like an hour after the episode goes live. So 1 in the morning Pacific time. Or Disney Plus time, I guess I could call it that. Okay. And if anybody has anything they want to go ahead and put into the chat, anything for me to respond to before I start watching, let me know. Otherwise, make sure to get your Disney Plus up so you can watch it along with me. I will go ahead and have the timer up here above me, so that will tell you how far in we are, and in case you're not watching this or you come in, say, 10 minutes later, etc., etc. Okay, I'm not seeing anything up in the chat, so we will get ready. Oh, hang on. Hello. Hi, Get Girl. Definitely. So, got to share with cooking dinner. Hopefully something good for dinner right there. Yeah, so I'll give my reactions as I'm going through, and then I'll give it a lot of discussion afterwards, just in case anybody's watching it for the first time. So I don't want to spoil that if you haven't yet actually watched the episode. Okay, so I'll grab my timer up here so I'm ready to start it up. And then I'll go pull it up over here in Disney Plus. Turkey chili. Oh, interesting. A little leftover turkey with some chili. Nice. Okay, Chapter 13, The Jedi. And yes, we'll watch the recap here too, considering. Have I watched part of season 2 of Rebels yet? No, I have not. I haven't seen anything beyond the finale that I watched with all of you live right there. And next I'm going to do the comics, so the Kanan comics, so that'll be the next piece I see there. So I won't really see anything for season 2 for, well, actually till I watch it live. So that'll be a week from Sunday. Yeah, exactly. Oh, and I'll put your guys' chat up over here on the side of the video too. You guys can all have it left over here. Just in case YouTube kills the chat for whatever reason. Oh, that was an exciting moment when we saw this back in the other episode. Loved it. And I just love this episode here Oh, altogether, the Heiress was a good, good dang episode. I never get tired of seeing the Lucasfilm logo pop up. Love it. Star Wars fan, right? And this is cool too. Much newer, but it's a fun logo going through. And I think I've commented on it before, maybe once or twice. All right, so right in here, we get into this interesting city we see in the background. We've got these people coming out. I, I thought the architecture was interesting on this one off the bat. We've kind of got this walled in city. We don't know exactly where we're at. The it's not a gong exactly, but it's ringing. This definitely seems rather Japanese influenced, which makes sense given some of the ideas behind Mandalorian, talking about, well, behind Star Wars as a whole, but between some of these samurai type films and the westerns. And, oh man, this jumping right in. Oh, and this pose. Dave Filoni loves having those picturesque moments right there, and that is sure as heck one of them. It's like, oh. I mean, this episode wasted no time right here. It, we just have not gotten to see a Jedi like this, hell, ever on the small screen. Dang. Yeah, I'd run too. This is only my second time actually watching this all the way through because I thought I'd save it for watching it with you guys at this point. So this is cool here too. You don't want to draw her out. I'd let her stay away. It's not going to be good for you. Oh, and something for me here. These white lightsabers are something I am not used to at all here. Bearing in mind that I've seen Clone Wars and now the first season of Rebels, but that's it. Oh, just the lightsabers igniting in the background. Oh, dang, it's cool. And I'm going, really? You want her to show yourself? You might not want her to show herself. And that's our first really, really good view of her face. And look at this. Such a good job on Ahsoka. And what gets me too, this is Rosario Dawson playing her. And I mean, I've certainly seen Rosario Dawson's face enough. But she is so, with all the makeup and everything else, and probably the orange skin doesn't hurt, but they've done such a good job of making her look like Ahsoka that I don't see Rosario Dawson when I look at her. It's like, oh, it's great. Yeah, exactly as I was saying, DBJ. It's like it is. My point is that they've done such a good job with the makeup and everything else that I don't see Rosario Dawson when I look at her. I just see Ahsoka, which, oh, it's great. And like, look, you even get the wrinkles up there on the tendrils. Oh, it's great. Oh, I love that line of "We'll be ready." Sure, you will. Mandalorian. Dang. Oh, I just hope the other shows we have later keep up to the quality the Mandalorian has had. At Chapter 13, The Jedi. We have been waiting with bated breath for this episode. Certainly I have. So Corvus, we still haven't gotten a confirmation. Is this Corvus as in Corvus Minor and they've been misspelling it? Or is it an entirely new planet that's never been referenced anywhere within canon or anything, well, that's now Legends? It's an interesting question. Oh, Love this. it, we just so are in his head looking at that little ball, just wanting to play with it. And I love the callback reference to it too and how much it matters. Look at him crawl up on the seat. Oh. Like that view. I want it. I want it. Oh, this is good. Oh, it's going to use the force. This is such a complex thing to actually do comparatively in the force to what we've seen him do, but he's actually got to twist it all the way off and float it on over. It's like, oh, shows a little more refinement in his skill than what we've seen before. Just makes me think A New Hope, which I think it's meant to, with the scanners up in the air, going ahead and tracking the ship as it's coming in. Oh, these cool big beasts back here in the background. They look like they look half familiar, and I can't place what they're supposed to be. Gotta look that up sometime. He's got the ball. No, it's such a desolate location. Wonder what the story is behind that. This looks like a giant forest fire just ripped through this whole area not that long ago when it comes to it. And yet we do have life in the background with those big creatures, so there must be smaller life teeming around or vegetation that they're eating. But oof. Hmm. I love this setup. I mean, we already know that, of course, they're wanting to hunt down Ahsoka at this point. Hey, look at that! Just now, a Mandalorian bounty hunter shows up. How fortuitous it must seem if you're on the other side. uh, Although, how fortuitous for Din as well, because that means you're going to get a mission to go out and find Ahsoka, right? Except you worry a little about that whole guild interaction to it. Anyway, the city. We're back in here again. And something that this show has been good at for a while is really giving a lived in feel to the world. Like, you just look around here, there's these little pieces. Heck, this person with their stall of food going on. It just feels like real people actually live here. And that's great. Imperial method of resource gathering actually desolates planets. Okay, okay. You're gonna say it's that as far as why all the trees are burnt out back there? Okay, okay. I can go for that. Makes sense, well, especially given the other pieces here on these people. Oh, and these cages up here. Now, that person gets shocked. It's like, dang, you just move a little bit and get shot. It's like, oh, dang, those are horrible public torture device right there. Yeah. Now, I'm looking at them going, dang, there's something that those have been seen before, and I don't think this is a first ever form, but I can't place anything before that they've been in. Anyway. Yeah, love this reveal. Hey, look, here's how they live if you're here in the nice rulers area, the magistrates area. Oh, what a beautiful shot, right? Hmm. In the Aftermath novels, so this is new canon. Okay. I haven't actually read the Aftermath novels yet. Kashyyyk is described as burnt out and desolate. Wow. Have to catch that sometime. This spear. Just wow. So much Beskar right there. Look at that. Wow. Oh, we panning into Baby Yoda right there. And I said, what a great setup. Now, hey, thanks for telling me where to find Ahsoka. It's just what I wanted to know. Thanks, everyone. What does this guy have to think? Well, other than that, what does he have to think? I keep this around for luck. You don't think of the Mandalorians necessarily as having that kind of a soft spot for luck or whatever else, I wouldn't think. No, if you're this guy, you're like, sure as hell don't want to be you going out there. I'm going this way. Have fun. Man, no, it's just so. All of these hills up in the background are all just burnt out. Yeah. Love even the star we have in the background here is just such a hazy feel to everything. Oh, and this owl-like creature right up here, and you can see it actually even here in the background. Say owl-like, as imagine it's not actually an owl, of course. I mean, always love the shots. Just every time you come in on Baby Yoda, right? Yeah, these creatures, man, they have a familiarity to me. I'm not sure where either. Look at that. It's like you just need to get a word in here, and Oh, but you are straight off into this. He should have gotten. He should have tried to say something there. Dang. Just the pose, the fighting stance. It's oh. DBG, remember the owl. Trust. Interesting. Interesting. I love this. I love how we make this point of Ahsoka just talking with Baby Yoda here by herself, and Din respecting that and actually giving them the space. But still, he's pacing back and forth like a worried parent right there. Like, I'm not watching you over much. I'm just pacing. Yeah, I was wondering if that's where that reference from DBG was going. It was Mirai. Okay, I assume that's the guess there. Interesting. Actually, was that in the background right there too? Huh. Maybe that's just a tree. I don't know. Dave Filoni, in terms of his episode here and in his other work, he loves making these picturesque moments that you could just make a snapshot of, and it is this beautiful, beautiful shot. And there's a few of them here in this episode. Yay, we have a name, Grogu. And that's been growing on me over the last, what is this? Well, I mean, I was sleeping for part of it, but over the last relatively 18 hours. And just how he responds right off the bat. It's like, yeah, see, Grogu. Oh, and our background here. Wonder he didn't wear. Oh, sorry. Yeah, hidden in the temple, and then someone takes him out. It's like, but it's intriguing how we do make that connection on him being trained by the different masters. There's so much there. I so thought she might have nicknamed him Baby Yoda to make it a canon nickname, but getting the name, oh, I mean that's 10 times better. The pain just sitting in there. I just love the pain behind her face in this. By the way, speaking of picturesque pieces, the three of them sitting there. Oh, and I will comment. Yes, her tendrils are definitely short, uh, but it's an interesting stylistic choice to go with because you get to choose how to do that. But we haven't seen very many Togrutas as far as live action Star Wars is concerned. I mean, other than Shakti, have we seen any others in live action until now? I don't think so. Maybe there was someone else in the background of the prequels somewhere. So because of that, I think you can get away with it a little more too, as we don't know enough live action wise as to what they look like. Uh, yeah. Oh, when you live the life he's lived. Well, you get to see even the curvature to her lightsabers that she's got right there. Agreed, DBJ. I think that might definitely be part of the reason for it, but as I said, not sure. There's also the comment that it's more similar to Clone Wars for in that sense, and there are ways you could have gotten around it to make it longer if you wanted. Hard to say. Regardless, I'm okay with it. So I don't ultimately have any problem there. I love the difference of his approach. All right, kid, lift the stone. So much din. Just that reaction to his name. Man, he gives up so fast. It's like you know exactly where this is headed. Pulls it out. So much like just this happy, excited parent. No kidding, she has. I love that we never even call Anakin out by name here. It doesn't need to be said for those of us who know. And I don't think it's necessary for everyone else either. It's okay for it to be more open. Showing and not telling, right? But yeah, you want to talk about, of all people who would have issues with potentially training other people, with how much you respected and looked up to Anakin. Yeah. I love this, that little smile laugh in the background. Don't underestimate Ahsoka and her lightsabers right there. Man, there's such an interesting story here. Morgan Elspa. Would love to see more sometime. Or just hear more anyway, or something. I don't know. Fill out that backstory a little. I love that. Certainly with your popular knowledge about the Jedi and the Mandalorians, even if recent history makes that a little less true sometimes. Hard to erase, what, hundreds, thousands of years of issues between the two? Jeez. Right up the wall. And, dang, just getting to watch someone lightsaber fight like this. Love it. No, no, I'll run away. Yeah. Oh, back to picturesque moments for you. Love it. Man, this is so straight out Western right there. Or, I suppose, samurai at the same time. Point B. Just this big face off down the main road right there. And we take our time with this section, and oh, it's great. A little music cue in there, too. That masterpiece. Later on that. In case anyone hasn't seen it yet. Ah, dang. Just getting such great lightsaber duel fighting in here. The entirety of season one, our big kid on the playground was Din, who outclassed everyone around him pretty much. Season two certainly flips that. Bo Katan outclasses him. How the other two Mandalorians with Bo Katan outclassed Din. And here, Ahsoka, I mean, that's next level altogether. It's like, whew. It's so interesting because, yeah, he was the big fish in the little pond in season one. Not anymore. Not anymore at all. This is one of those. You split up your people. What are you doing? Lothcat. Which, so cool. I don't know. I like Lothcats. What can I do? Lothcat again. But no, back to splitting up your people. The one advantage you had facing a Jedi was at least maybe you had all your people together. This is where I just think Matrix. No, Lieutenant. Your men are already dead. Yeah, you should have split them up. Hey, we get an Ahsoka series. We got to find some excuses to get some lightsaber duels in there. So, quick music cue. It's a beautiful shot. Looks that way. Maybe. If you can't tell. Yes, no, exactly. Exactly, girl. The big Western confrontation out there, and then the samurai confrontation on the inside. You know, it's definitely a good point, a good way of looking at it. Also, the feel of the two locations, too, gives a little more toward one and the other. I mean, when you want to get information out of somebody, the whole fight gets a little trickier, right? Because the point isn't to just beat the other person or kill them. It's to do what you need to get that information to be willingly given, right? I kind of love as you're just listening out here. Could be, huh? You know how you said Dan threw in with the Jedi? You might want to think about it yourself here at this point. Now, this is fun to watch. Yeah. And why do you think that's the right cause? An interesting hit. It's like, and he says all that, but dang, man. That moment right there where Ahsoka gets serious. And you just see the look on her face on the magistrate. Yeah, she knows. And then the fight ends that quick after she gets serious. I just love that moment where Ahsoka just turns the lightsaber to the side and the pose and the look. It's like, dang man, you even said this wasn't worth your life. I know you were obviously BSing about it, but you already know the fight's lost against the Jedi in there. It's already over. Why waste your life like that? What a waste. And that right there. Oh, just that name drop. Oh, love it so much. I don't know how much I'll talk about it right here or once this is over, since we've got more to talk about with Ahsoka and Din here first. Thanks, you girl. Yes, having not seen, well, anything 2 and onward, I've caught that he pops up into Rebels. I know that much is true, but I know nothing beyond that. Heck, my knowledge of Thrawn is purely well, what is Legends now, the EU. And a lot of books in that, but anyway. This moment, though, you're jumping back here, and then we'll head back that way in a bit. Oh, this moment coming up. It's interesting, even the look just in Ahsoka's face on this. So I wonder, what's Din gonna do with this giant bit of Beskar? To actually do anything with it, well, we've got to go ahead and meet back up with the rest of the Watch. But I don't know when we're gonna do that because he doesn't seem to know where the Watch is anyway. But we've got a nice big thing to melt down at some point. Indeed, DBG. Indeed. They were. They are. Take your pick. More in a moment. Oh, just that. Grogu's so sleepy. By the way, picturesque moments. I could just take a picture of that right there that we had, just with Din and Grogu there. So, so much sadness in that too. Indeed. You just run into these powerful people. They like reneging on their promises. Bo reneged on her deal, changed it, then eventually went ahead and went through. But after changing the deal, so does Ahsoka. Changes the deal with you again too. And this, I said, other than just getting a new mission. Which Jedi? Yes, but we're not going to do something like that and not have a Jedi pop up. that's a good moment. As always, the music in this show is such beautiful music, so well done. Just that look, the thoughts going through her head as she's thinking and then walking off here into the distance. It's like the perfect close for that episode. Oh, loved it. Oh, dang. Written by Dave Filoni right there. And I always love these art pieces at the end. You've heard me comment on that before if you watched some of my other videos. Getting to see the tiny differences in terms of what might have... I assume they're concept art, but maybe they're not. Point being, the differences in what it was looked at one point. Heck, this inside battle going on. But yeah. Okay. I love this. And, oh, speaking of the white, it's if you're such a white robe instead of the gray robe that she wears in the art. Anyway. So much beautiful, beautiful art. What's actually going on in this art? Is he actually making it bloom, maybe, even? Interesting question. No worries for us. Hopefully you've seen it already, because it just finished here, so I will be talking about the actual episode here at this point. Okay. Man, there's a ton to talk about right there now, isn't there? Oh. Okay, so where do we start? So first off, Grogu. That name has been growing on me over the hours since I first watched it, and I love it. Obviously, heck, I would have said it earlier in this, but I didn't want to spoil that if anyone was watching this for the first time. But yeah, definitely growing on me. I mean, Baby Yoda will always have a little piece in my head too, but that we actually have a name for Grogu, that's great. Okay, now some of the other pieces. Heck, let's talk Grand Admiral Thrawn. Okay, so Grand Admiral Thrawn. Now, if I ever had my wish list for what to see, who to see pop into series or movies or whatever else, bearing in mind that I hadn't seen Clone Wars till earlier this very year, Grand Admiral Thrawn was the top of my list. So catching a reference right there, ooh, so great. Heck, people like Ahsoka and Bo-Katan only really entered anything I cared about earlier this year when I really was, watching Clone Wars. And heck, Bo-Katan even much more recently than that. Now, yeah. But Grand Admiral Thrawn. So, the books, the many, many books that are out there. And I know he exists both in new canon and as well as the originals. Now, my original introduction to Grand Admiral Thrawn was the Heir to the Empire trilogy. So that, heck, it was my introduction to the entire EU, the extended universe, or what is now Legends for that matter. And to Timothy Zahn as an author, as I read that long time ago. I read a lot of other Star Wars books after that, too, all the way up through New Jedi Order, and yeah. But read all of Timothy Zahn's books on, during the old EU Legends time period. I have not read his new books on Thrawn yet. Those are certainly on my list because I love Timothy Zahn as an author for everything he's done Star Wars and for his non-Star Wars sci-fi as well. Heck, if you love Timothy Zahn's writing from having read any of that stuff, definitely go ahead and check him out. So, I mean, even getting a name drop on Thrawn, just, that excites me. Now, I guess I'll cut that timer here before it just keeps counting on into oblivion. There we go. Kill that. But anyway, if there was my number 2 character for seeing come into live action or into anything prior to talking Clone Wars and whatnot, Mara Jade. That's my number 2. Haven't had that happen yet. But hey, if we've got people that care about these pieces and have started to bring these other people in, I hopefully will see Mara Jade pop in sometime too. Well, I don't know, just hoping. Now, talking hang on, let's see. DBG. Let me pop this over this way so it's up in front of me a little better. That way I'm not looking off to the side as much. As a side thing, read the first of the true newest Thrawn novels. Yeah. Well, as I said, yeah, definitely. I'd love to. I don't know when I'll find the time to. Heck, to be honest, if I'm going to see something, I have Plagueis sitting somewhere up over there off the screen. But that's one that I've been wanting to read and I just haven't quite gotten around to yet. So to be honest, as far as books that I'm going to read, that's probably the next one. Although, you never know, maybe the Ahsoka book will pop up first too. We'll see exactly how things really work out. But yeah. Now, as to my thoughts here, this did not feel like we're introducing Ahsoka to pop back into this series. I don't think that's where we're leading with this. I could be wrong. I could easily be wrong, of course. But Ahsoka felt, yes, we gave a nice overview to anybody who doesn't know her. You got to get an idea of who she is that way. The Thrawn thing does not feel relevant to The Mandalorian to me. And I think that's also part of why maybe it was touched on so briefly. I think this is set up for an Ahsoka series. I don't think this is set up for anything down the line of Mandalorian. Mandalorian, we've got our bigger bad guy at the time being, and I don't think that's Thrawn. Not to mention, I don't think we're going to be in the same part of the galaxy necessarily for that. So that's my feeling. I really don't have any expectation of seeing Ahsoka in Mandalorian again, certainly at all this season at this point. The episode doesn't feel that way to me. Will she pop up and cross paths with Din again somewhere in the future? Yeah, sure, maybe. But again, I think this is Ahsoka spinoff series, and you've got an idea of where the heck that's going with Thrawn popping up. And frankly, if you're having Ahsoka star in a series, you need a bigger antagonist than we do for a show like The Mandalorian. Because The Mandalorian is not as powerful a character off the bat as Ahsoka is. So, set up Grand Admiral Thrawn? That's certainly a bigger adversary to go ahead and pop up. Just saying. So, no, I think that's where we're going with that one right there. Now, something interesting. Okay, first off, we have no idea where in the galaxy we are with Corvus. We have no idea where we are with a lot of things, frankly. But we know where Tatooine is. We know some other things have been happening there. It can be assumed that some of this stuff is near Tatooine. But where we're going next over here with Tython is so far away. Tython is deep core. As in, we've got to go all the way up past Coruscant and deep down in. And that's going to be interesting in its own right. Oh, hang on, let's see. Timothy Zahn was consulted by Dave Filoni in bringing Thrawn into canon. That does not surprise me. Again, that is Timothy Zahn's creation right there. Thrawn as well as Mara Jade, for that matter. Interesting. I agree it will most likely be Thrawn if there's an Ahsoka series for reasons I don't know yet. Gotcha. More Rebel stuff. Yeah, I just in touching anything, back to the main, anything that I have any knowledge of in Rebels or people that I know that are alive or might show up, that all seems to come here from Mandalorian, what I know here about the Mandalorian so far. So, yeah. Except, funny enough, that's not how I knew Thrawn was alive. It was actually, it was not all that long ago, a number of months ago. Well, I mean, I knew Thrawn was alive in terms of new canon about the books being written, but in terms of popping up in Rebels, I was looking up images of Thrawn for, I think it was a different Star Wars video I did, and ran across the images of him in Rebels. So that was before I even started doing Clone Wars and started watching that at all. So yeah. Anyway, but yeah, Tython's interesting. Tython's very interesting where we're going there. Now, new canon, obviously, Octo is the birthplace of the Jedi. We've established that in new canon. But if we're talking legends, etc., Tython is the birthplace of the Jedi. Although I guess there's still all that debate, but given some of what popped up in there, that's interesting. So here, even in this new canon, I'm sure it's still going to be one of the vital spots to the origin of the Jedi. And that should be intriguing of its own right. But still, I have my questions even on when we're going to get to Tython because of how far away it is. Now, Tatooine is way out. But we've got to go all the way in through all kinds of inner worlds, go past Coruscant. Well, we can skirt around Coruscant with the hyperspace lanes. But I don't see us just going to Tython next episode. It's too far away. It's too big a jump. Let's see. Who are y'all thinking the potential Jedi that Grogu's going to make contact with? Now, bearing in mind, I don't have all my answers on what I do, for not knowing Rebels to a certain degree, of course. As I said, obviously I would put Ezra and Kanan up as possibilities, if those are even possible. I know Ezra is because I've heard enough speculation on Ezra popping into Mandalorian that clearly that must be true. Luke and Leia would both qualify as people that could go ahead and receive that contact. And then past that, we're getting into people that don't actually exist in canon and could be brought in. Certainly Dave Filoni and, well, Jon Favreau to whatever degree too, really do have some decent knowledge of a number of pieces that are currently legends. So where they might pull from is another question. We could even bring in, say, Corran Horn or Cal Kestis, Kyle Katarn. There are a lot of possibilities, frankly, if we're talking legends in that sense. But even so, I would say it's going to be a relatively good-sized name. It's not going to be a nobody or somebody that's really minor within legends. I don't think with how we're building it up that we would go that route. Yeah, that's it. If Grogu's actually going to go ahead and leave this series and it just becomes Din, that's interesting in its own right. That feels like the end of the series if we actually do that, just because we've tied it so together between Din and Grogu. Yes, the series could go beyond that, no question. But, interesting as to who he might contact there. Given everything, yeah, sure, Ezra's a good possibility. Would it be cool to have Luke pop up and say hi? Yeah, most definitely. I love the idea of popping in Corran Horn, personally. Popping in somebody who's out of Legends and into here. Yeah, that's it. Yeah, as you said, they could bring in any Jedi, to be sure. And yeah, that comic series Dr. Aphra, I know, just started up this year. But yeah, as far as Tython in this canon, who knows what pieces they'll take and what they won't when it comes to it. But yeah, no, bringing Luke in, oh man, that would be cool. We'll see what we see, and so many guesses. My guess is we won't make it to Tython until the end of the season, though. That's my guess. Again, the distance away, I think we're going to go ahead and push more quickly for that confrontation that we clearly have with the Dark Troopers or the Shadow Troopers. They look more like Dark Troopers up on the ship, but the experiments felt more Shadow Troopery. Again, I don't know exactly which way we're going with that, or some combination. Who knows? But my guess is we're going to go ahead and see the confrontation with Gideon long before we get to Tython. However that ends up working out, I don't know. But again, it's just too long a trip for me. Well, let's see. On the topic of Grogu, who do I think hid him during Order 66? It's an interesting question because we also know things went bad for Grogu too from some of that talk on the fear and everything else. Yeah. Well, let's see. You give what happens. The question is he well enough hidden that he's still there, or is he... Yeah, because the way it was worded was as if he was still at the temple after Anakin's attack. Now, if that's the case, I suppose you could even argue Yoda or Obi-Wan could have gone ahead and been the ones to bring him out. Even that's possible. But, dang, how many other people do you have that are Jedi that pop up over to the temple after that? And that's assuming you're saying it's a Jedi that took him out of the temple and not, say, someone else. Yeah. Interesting question. It's hard to say where we're going with that because we just didn't get a whole lot of info. Excuse me. So, who hit him? Again, it's also part of the problem that here in current canon, we don't know a lot of the different Jedi who are actually alive or not. So we have very few Jedi we know that actually survived Order 66. If we knew more of them, we might have more possible answers to that question. Certainly, I don't think it's our good friend Kanan or anything like that. Too young, and I think would have touched on that by now. But could it be Yoda or Obi-Wan? I think it definitely could be. It's certainly not Ahsoka. She would have said something. She would have known. And could it be somebody who is not a Jedi, too? I think that's definitely a possibility, too. Let's see. Oh, Magistrate Morgan Elsbeth. I'd love to hear a little more backstory there sometime. Is that it just sounds like there's an interesting backstory. Heck, her people get wiped out in the Clone Wars, whichever people they are, wherever. It's interesting also, which side are we talking really wiped them out. But then that ends up pushing her into becoming instrumental in building the Imperial Navy and then plundering worlds and being well, we call Thrawn her master, so clearly we're assuming she's a high up direct underling of Thrawn. So, yeah, there's some interesting stuff right there. Interesting stuff. Yeah. And that fight, by the way, that fight was fun. It's one of those, how do you do a fight when you have a Jedi on one side and somebody who is not a Force wielder on the other and make it a good, interesting fight? Now, yeah, you always have to find a tricky way to go ahead and do that. And in this case, really, we were able to use, I think, heavily the fact that it was all about getting the information out of her. So the goal wasn't to go ahead and I'm just going to quickly win the fight and, hopefully you'll talk, because that's not likely going to work. So really, she gave her a good fight, first off, until they just reached that point, And then you saw her take that serious stance. And then, the look on the magistrate's face when she did that. Yeah. So you knew Ahsoka was not fighting with her full power at that point before. And who knows? Maybe she wasn't even trying to force enhance as much either at that point in time. Maybe that's another part of how that fight was more even. So she was giving her a more even fight before that point. And again, yeah, get that information out of the magistrate by actually giving her a fair fight beforehand. showing that respect, that honor in that sense. Anyway, I mean, heck, we saw Ahsoka and what she did throughout the rest of the episode, which really felt much more, Ahsoka at her power level and what she was doing as she was just mowing through people left and right. And ton of fun. And hi to YouTube Review Show. Hello. Hello there. Okay. So, what about you guys? Who do you think? Which Jedi is it going to be that we do end up having Grogu contact on Tython? Who do you think it'll be? See what other thoughts there are popping up there. We've got one Ezra already. What about you, DBG? Who do you think? And anybody else who's watching? Because we've got a few people out right now, it seems. Or one of the higher numbers I've seen out here. Master Windu. Oh, wouldn't that be interesting? DBG is going for Luke. Yeah, we got a good few different people going up on there. You know what? I'm just going to toss out Core and Horn because, hey, I've got to go ahead and have wrong guesses and see what doesn't make it as a prediction anyway, right? And I'd love to see Core and Horn actually pop up into canon, so, yeah. So, Core and Horn. Cal Kestis over there from YouTube Review Show as well. Yes. Oh, and that said, eventually I'll understand what your reasons are once I finish making it through Rebels, but until then, I'm too happy not to understand that one. Not have some of that spoiled yet, so we'll see. It all depends on what things like Mandalorian do as to whether I do catch things I don't want to catch yet or not. Excuse me. Sorry about that. Okay. So, let's see. What else do we really have on this episode here other than... So, I mean, best episodes of Mandalorian yet. I mean, absolutely love the Bo-Katan one. It picked you up and moved you all the way through. This one, seeing Ahsoka is just so big. Again, how we brought her in, what we did with this episode. It had some real good emotional moments in it, too. Especially that whole father-son relationship between Din and Grogu. Anyway. It's kind of funny when you think about it. Because Din's got to be younger than Grogu is, actually. But... But I think I'm going to go with this one here as my favorite up to this point. And, I think it did a great job of giving that taste and potential setup for an Ahsoka series. Hey, hopefully, maybe we'll get an Ahsoka series prior to Season 3 of Mandalorian. Here's hoping. Here is hoping. And that's one of those interesting discussions, too, right? We've got the talk about... There's all kinds of rumors floating on spin-off series. The heaviest, strongest rumor is the Boba Fett spin-off series. Nothing official yet, but according to every bit of that rumors that are going around, heck, that's already filming and will be coming out. There's been strong rumors on Ahsoka having a spin-off series. There's been pretty decent rumors on Bo-Katan getting a spin-off series. And maybe they all will. Certainly there's room to have spin-off series for each of them. No question about that. Would be cool if we did. Interesting. Din gets his new staff, which I think is going to use against Moff because of the saber proof. Yeah, actually that makes sense. That the problem is Din's not used to wielding a weapon like that. So I mean, that'd be a little tricky for him in that sense. But there's a good point. Maybe there's something else that would work better. Maybe we melt it down into something else once we go ahead and meet the rest of the watch. I don't know. But unless there's something I don't know, I don't think he is exactly used to working a quarterstaff and wielding one. We'll see what we see, right? Heck, I don't think Din's up for going and finding up a whole bunch of dark troopers right now either. It's a little beyond him. So That's its own trick, too, as to how he's going to go ahead and fight a whole bunch of dark troopers. Yeah. Yeah, definitely. Sure. I could see that. Because, again, when it comes to fighting Gideon, Bo-Katan is clearly going to ram right back into this series at some point because she's on that collision course with Gideon, too. We know that. I mean, that dark saber that he's got more than anything else, really. And that's interesting where we go with the Bo-Katan series too. Retaking Mandalore and going down that road. It could be fun. I think Bo's and Din's paths are going to cross at the end of the season to go up against Gideon. Yeah, yeah, agreed. Agreed. Either we're gonna do that at the end of the season, or the other possibility that I think maybe we'll have Din and Grogu ended up in a bad spot at the end of the season, and then we wouldn't bring Bo in until season 3. I mean, we could go that route too. I could see that. But I'm also thinking the Tython thing happens before the end of the season. I don't know. There's only 3 episodes left, so there's not a ton of time to both go ahead and escalate and deal with things with Gideon and get to Tython. Hard to say. Maybe we have some Dark Trooper interaction, we deal with that, we get to Tython, and then we really push off the Gideon confrontation till season 3. Could do that. Off topic. When are we going to go ahead and see Boba again? Like, is his story done till season 3? I can't imagine it's done till season 3. I can't imagine you do that kind of a tease at the end of the first episode and he doesn't pop up again in the entire season. It's like he's gotta pop up again. Even if just to give us another tease that is going to run to a spin-off and it's not really a full appearance of him. I mean, you just don't give that tease there and that's all you see. But hey, what do I know? What the heck do I know? See what we see. But where do we fit him? I mean, you're not going to bring Boba Fett into the finale episode. Not unless he's somehow your adversary, and that doesn't fit for me at the moment. So that gives us 2 episodes. That means either episode 6 or 7 if he's popping back up here into season 2. So, chapters 14 or 15. And 15, assuming we're similar to what we do with season 1, I wonder if they'll 2-part kind of do the finale again, and we'll have 15 and 16 really be one bigger piece there. If that's the case, then Boba Fett next episode? I can see that. I don't know what we'd do with Boba Fett or why we would be bringing him in. After all, last we know he's over on Tatooine. What excuse do we have to head to Tatooine before heading over to Tython? I don't got a good answer to that. A distress call? Someone needs his help desperately on Tatooine? We could do something like that. Maybe we go that direction. Let's see. He's got to get called back to Tatooine for some reason. The excuse we had here in season 2 was that he was looking for the Jedi, and somebody told him, hey, look, go to Tatooine. Here, it feels like the connection is probably somebody calling him directly there for big worries. Certainly, Boba has seen Din with Boba's armor by this point in time. So it might be Boba himself who, through whatever channel, essentially instigates Din coming back over to Tatooine. But yeah, and that would also be another good way to delay Din heading off to Tython. So maybe next episode. Again, just because also I don't think you put it into the 2-part finale, and I think we see Boba again because you don't tease him like that in the end of episode 1 without him popping into the season again. So yeah. How about next episode? Big Boba Fett episode. Then we'll get into a 2-part thing where we face off against Gideon and or the Dark Troopers. Yeah. And maybe that calls us back over to good old Navarro. So maybe we've got Din responding to fires for the next couple episodes. What What do you think? What do you all think? Think that's a decent possibility? I think it's completely off, and you have a much better idea. What do you think? See what you all put over here into the chat. Or if anybody has any other theories. Yeah. Well, DBG, I don't have much of a clue either, right? Speculation that could easily end up proven wrong. So at least the three of you that I have talking in here, I have at least three of you talking in here right now. Actually, I think four. Yeah, Ross is around too. Anyway, what Tython last episode, I bet. Yeah, that's what I was thinking too, and now I'm starting to question it even myself just because of the two-part finale. I don't know. Who knows? So did you like that 6 p.m. time here? 6 p.m. Pacific time that I did this week? Would you like a different time next week for doing this? Let me know over here in the chat. I know it's just a few of you. I'll also take comments for everybody that watches this afterwards. Go ahead and put something down below in the comments afterwards. Let me know what kind of time you like next week. Assuming you like the idea of doing this again. And I assume if you're watching it to this point, you probably do. So is this same time good, earlier? Heck, would you prefer it on the Saturday? I don't know. Just go ahead and let me know. Keep the 6. Okay. Well, I'll let everybody else keep putting those in there. Feel free to put things below. Not live streaming on Sunday. No, I'm not live streaming this Sunday. This next, well, the next normal video after I get one out there, I'll be doing a quote-unquote normal video on the comics right there, the Kanan comics. And then, so a week from the day after tomorrow, so in 9 days, I will be live streaming the beginning of season 2 of Rebels. Exactly, DBG. That's why I have a hard time believing that Ding gets all the way to Tython. It's too long a trip. And Gideon just doesn't have power and influence over the entire galaxy, which he would almost have to do to head all the way over to Tython. So it's got to happen before that. So goes my theory. A little later than 6, maybe? Okay, maybe we'll go later than 6. As I said, everybody who sees it now or later, just let me know down, leave a comment, etc., and we'll figure out what time works best to go ahead and do this next time around. Okay, anybody got anything else you want to pop into chat for me to talk about before we take off for today? Oh, and let me say thank you everybody for popping in and watching this with me. I said I always appreciate it, even if it's just a handful of us. That's still great, and I love you being over here in chat. So I've actually got someone to talk to and interact with, and that's love being able to actually share it with all of you out there. So yeah. Oh hey, speaking of, hello, kid Star Wars fan films. Okay, I'm not seeing a whole lot more pop up into the chat, so I am probably going to go ahead and take off then, unless anybody puts a last minute thing in there. So if not, the next live stream that I have planned at this point. Good to hear you've been here the whole time. That's great. Hopefully you enjoyed the whole thing. And as I said, feel free to put in, if there's a better time that works for you too. So definitely go and let me know. And as I said, so the next live stream then, well, actually, it would be the next Mandalorian episode, so in a week. And then the one after that will be the Sunday Rebels Season 2 start. So, yeah, that'll be the next times that I'm currently planning on live streaming. Unless something major happens. Who knows? You never know. After all, we get a trailer for an Ahsoka series or something like that. I might pop back in for that. uh, okay, well, with that, I will go ahead and say until next time. So have a magical day. And 3:21 in the morning. Yeah, ooh, it's a tricky time. Night owl right there, huh? Well, you let me know if that works well, in the future or not, and feel free to leave a comment if there's a better time you think of. And until then, everybody, I think I will go ahead and say, have a magical day, and may the Force be with you. Always.